Okay, now we're on. All right, so for number 1, I put D.
Okay, I did too, because I was like, that's all of them.
Yeah. Number 2, I had C, which I
Okay,
was like
so
trying to do the math, and then I read the first paragraph on the first page.
yeah,
There it was.
exactly.
Okay, I was like, because there's like a rule of 70 where if you divide the growth percent by
Hmm.
70, it tells you the amount of years. It's 39.5. I kept saying that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, the average okay, number 3, I put C, but I had a question mark by it. But I
Okay,
asked him about that.
did you? Okay,
No, wait, that wasn't that one. I asked him about a different one. Yeah, I put 3. I put 10 times because in the beginning of the chapter it says, see, I hate when they do this. It's just like, give me a question that's straight out of the book. Like, don't make me like have to like guess.
yeah,
Because it says, let's see here.
yeah, because right at the very first sentence, it's like more than 10 times the average income of the poor country. Um,
Sorry, hold on. I think my dog's in the trash.
you're fine.
Sorry about that.
I think you're right because it's like it says right there. It says like states like Japan and Germany are more than 10 times the average income of
Yeah.
a poor country such as Indonesia. The large difference is so I had so my only question was is I was kind of looking at that one and D because in D on the next page or let's see, I thought I saw something about 20 times. But maybe that was how fast they grew.
Well, I know that there's one that actually, yeah, that's the one that, well, I know there's one that actually says 11% more.
Yeah. So it says I think that was where I came in was the average income is 20% higher than that. So I think you're right. I think it is C because I
But
think it's C because I
that's talking, the 20% higher is talking about the United Kingdom in
yeah,
1870.
so I think that's where I had the question mark too, but I was going between C and D as well. So I think C is correct.
Well, this is killing me now that I can't find that specific spot.
Well, it just says that in the yeah, because it only talks about the
But there's a specific spot where it talks about in between 10% and like 18%, or 11% and like 18%.
yeah, let's see.
Oh, that's gonna kill me if I can't find it. Mostly it's just for my own
Yeah, I know.
sanity. It's on the. Hmm. Okay, we can move on from this, but I know it's there.
Yeah, I do too because I was that was my only things is I was pretty sure I knew it was one of those two. So
Dang it. I hate not being able to find the answer that I just had.
I don't know.
All right, we'll go with C. This is the class I had the lowest grade in. I still have an A, but it's my lowest A. Borderline A minus.
Well,
Stressing me out.
I'm pulling a very, very low B in business law, and I'm pulling a high B in this class. But
Yeah, I think I got a really easy teacher for business law. He just gives pretty much A's on everything, I feel like.
yeah, see, she's really picky about,
I figure because she makes all the videos.
and she's super picky about like my when you write those stupid
Case case
briefs.
briefs?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
she
write.
is super picky, and I'm like, my gosh, I gave you plenty of the similar facts. Why are
Mhm.
you so giving me? You're pulling me with B's and B minuses all over the place with that. I'm
Yeah, my teacher just gives me an A.
oh,
He gave me one A minus. He's like, your facts were a little too long.
see, and she tells me I don't have enough facts.
Is she a
I'm like,
lawyer?
yeah,
She is. Yeah, so is he, but he's super laid back. It's great.
I know it stinks
Oh
because
well.
that's what really it's not it doesn't help me that my you have your test scores and then you have these stupid briefs that no one really knows how to write because it's not your
Yeah,
job in real life
yeah.
and they're pulling.
and
B
that's why
minuses on you.
it shouldn't be hard to do because it's a brief. But what I have found, what I usually do is I'll Google the case and I'll put something in briefs.
Oh.
And so then that way I get like a real lawyer, what he would have written down. And it usually matches pretty well with the feedback that they give after the case.
Yeah.
And so
Oh, smart.
so
I'm gonna do that.
I don't copy all the way off of it, but I take all the facts that they say and put it in my own word.
Yeah.
It helps.
Okay, I'm doing that next time. Thank you for telling me that because I'm just like.
And they never said you couldn't do it, so.
No, not if you're rewording
your own words, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on. 4. Yeah, this one was easy.
Yeah,
said it in the book, yeah. Was it B?
It's
4. C.
C.
United Kingdom, Mexico Mall. All right, country. Okay, 5. I put B, but I had a question mark. But I asked him about this. This is the one I asked him about because I hate like questions like this. It says countries that grew the fastest, but it's not like the 3 countries that grew the fastest or like the 5 countries that grew the fastest. You know.
I had 2. I picked B too, but how did you come up? Like just went. No, how did you figure that percentage?
No, it's C. That's what I think.
You think it's C?
Because if you take the first, which I would think the fastest, you know, like you're thinking about the world, so you pick like the 5 fastest, right? So I took all of them above 2, and I averaged it out from that list, wherever that list is. So I emailed him, and I was like, well, how am I supposed to know which ones to take an average of? And he's like, well, it's more of just a guess. He's like, just look at like the top, I'd say like the top 2 or 3, and, you know, kind of what would be closest. Like, that's so dumb because it's like...
Yeah, because I was doing the same thing. I was like, okay, it could be 2.5 because those top ones are about there. But if you look at the ones that grew more,
yeah,
you're looking at the 2s.
Yeah, and so that's why I hate, sometimes I hate this class and just economics in general because they don't give you enough information to finish the question.
Yeah, so which one do you think it should
So
be?
I think it's 2.5 because I emailed him and he emailed back. Hold on, let me look at this email again, make sure I wasn't. Okay, it's not asking for a specific number, just an estimate. It asks about the fastest, so just look at the top of the table and see what numbers those are closest to. You don't need to calculate an actual average. I would just look at the first 2 or 3. So if you look at the first 2 or 3, it's right around 2.5. So there's one that's 2.6, 2.4, 2.3.
Yeah, okay.
So
yeah, because I was like, yeah, I had the exact same 2 circled. I had B and C circled with a question mark.
And I just have such a problem. Like, I hate like taking tests that you can't just be like, oh, that's the answer. I know that's the answer. All right, 6. I had D.
Okay, me too.
Okay. 7. I had D again.
What did I?
8. I had C.
Oh, whoops. Oh, sorry. I just scrolled my screen really far. Come back to 8. 8. I had. Okay.
So I found this in the section.
Okay, so you picked C.
Yeah, in the section where they talk about what section was that? I've been studying accounting like crazy for the last couple of days, so I kind of forgot where things are in this book. It's the one where they talk about how you would think that natural resources would limit GDP growth.
Yeah, and I can't remember.
But it says that it doesn't because we're getting better at conserving them, so it doesn't limit growth. What is that?
Okay.
It's like a blue section, but it said that. It said the question is the notion that our ability to conserve natural resources is growing more rapidly than their supplies are doing the way is supported by the fact of, and then it said that that's true because if we're limiting because they're scarce resources, the price would be going up. But instead they've said stable or they've gotten cheaper.
Here's my question though. On page 242, the last section of natural resources, though it says, although natural resources can be important, they are not necessary for the economy to be highly productive in producing goods and services.
Which just means like in the case of like Japan, like they don't have very many natural resources, but because free trade allows them to trade away what they make for natural resources to make what they make. So it's just saying that you don't have to
I
have
picked.
a country.
That's why I picked A.
Yeah. So I think because
You
right
don't
here,
think it would be A?
no, because that's just talking about free trade and that you don't need to have a country rich in natural resources. But it says it's almost word for word out of the book there.
Okay, so C. You said C.
Let me see. It's right here. I found it. It's like in that case study. Are natural resources a limit to growth?
Okay.
Hold on. Where is this?
Many commentators have argued that natural resources will eventually limit much of growth, but at first this argument might seem, but and most economists are less concerned about the limits of growth than one might guess.
Where did I find this? This is so annoying. Okay, but are all these efforts enough to permit continued economic growth? One way to answer this question is to look at the price of natural resources. In a market economy, scarcity is reflected in market price. If the world were running out of natural resources, then the price of those resources would be rising over time. But in fact, the opposite is true. Natural resource prices exhibit substantial short-run fluctuations, but over long spans of time, the prices of most natural resources are stable or falling.
Okay.
It appears that our ability to conserve these resources is growing more rapidly than their supplies are dwindling.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, for 9, I put A.
Yeah, me too.
10, I put C. I think this is one that I had some. See, this was part of the production function that I thought was just not well explained at all. The one paragraph in a book about it.
It's right, and it's like a very small, stupid little paragraph here that blue section that
makes absolutely no sense.
So you thought it was C?
No, A is C. Yeah, and I before I had A, and I'd also put.
I had A too.
Else. Okay, so I kind of after I did the homework, I realized that when you double. So just because you double workers, right? So if you have more workers, you're going to raise productivity because in the production function, if you double it because it's a constant return to scale, everything will double. So productivity will double, but output per worker will not.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because that makes sense. Because you're adding more doesn't mean they're producing more per person.
Mm-hmm. So because like say if they made 200, right, and you had 4 workers, and each guy's producing 50. But if you double workers because you're doubling everything, then each person is still producing 50 to make 400.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
That's why I put that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. It
was like 10 through 12 took me like an hour to do.
Well, no, I was like, and honestly, I just threw my hands up on some of these because I was like.
Yeah, that's how I felt. The homework helps a lot, as it usually does. But I wish there was a recorded office hours. I know he has office hours, but I wish he would record them because I have 3 office hours on Wednesday nights.
Oh yeah, that's hard.
So I don't always make it. I usually don't ever make it to the economic one.
Yeah.
Okay. For 11, I put D.
Oh, good. Me too. I had that one with you. I had that one. I was like going back and forth. I was like, oh, fine.
12, I put C. I battled with this one a long time. I had D for a long time, but
I had D too, but I was like, I really have a big question mark. I was like, that doesn't.
And so this is what I kind of came to the conclusion of. It's kind of like the same thing with 10. So never working economy doubled. All their inputs stayed the same. So it's kind of like you're not going to change just because you put more workers. You're not going to change productivity unless you raise everything, right? So the constant return to scale in the production function only counts when you double it by everything, or if you do everything by 10%. Okay. Because so it's going to raise. So if you raised, it's going to lower productivity per worker by doubling workers, but it's not going to raise productivity. Okay. Does that make sense? Because just because if you have like one shovel and one guy with a college education, but then you have 2 workers or whatever, only one person can use a shovel.
Yeah.
So they would have to split the time. One person would use it half the time, one person would use it the other time, which they produce the same in an 8-hour day.
Okay, so it stay the same.
That's my guess.
Okay.
If it's wrong.
Well, I had D and a question mark, so.
I had D too at the beginning, then I just figured that's how it has to be because nothing else is changing. But just because you add more workers to something, if you don't have more capital, you're not going to produce anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry. Another reason I put D, well, I originally put D because I thought about diminishing returns.
Oh, yeah.
Like you add more workers, you can only add so many workers till a certain point till it starts to fall. But
Yeah.
anyways, moving on. All right, 13 is C. I put C. I don't know what you put.
Okay, so workman has lower productivity but higher GDP.
Yeah, and that one was
I agree with that.
because it was, if you do the math, it was you got to take 8 times.
I had C, and then I question marked it, and I circled D, and so that's.
Yeah, so you got to take the 8 hours times the 7,000 workers, and then you have to divide that by the total product, and that will give you 4. I think that's 4 per person, and then you take the population divided by the total, or the total product divided by the population, which gives you the GDP. So,
Okay, so that was C.
Yeah, that was C.
Yeah, it was.
All right, 14, I put C also.
Let me see. I gotta turn the page. Oh, me too.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
Yeah.
Best education. Okay, so 15. I had a problem on this one too, I think.
I have a question mark by it.
Because I feel like it doesn't.
It doesn't say much. Like to
don't
me, it
know.
wasn't like a right answer.
Yeah, I don't know what human or brain drain has to do with physical capital.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
So I
have
B.
B. So did I. And it says
B.
physical capital.
Yeah, B. Sorry.
Physical capital per worker will decrease because you lose people.
Hold on, I didn't think about that. So you lose people, so physical capital would increase though, right? Because you don't have as many workers to spread out across your capital.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I was wondering because I'm like, so you lose. So basically, it doesn't talk about anything about. So who cares if your best educated are gone when you're not talking about anything else, Because your best educated, well, because physical capital has nothing to do with. It has to do with the.
Like how many mills you have, or how many shovels you have, or how many.
The stock equipment and structures
Yeah.
for the use of goods and services is called physical capital. For example, woodworkers make furniture. They use saws and lathes.
So I wasn't thinking of that way. I was thinking of like human capital, people making more physical capital, and that's why I put B. But I think if that's the case, if you have people leaving a country and there's going to be a fixed amount of capital, I think technically capital would increase because you're losing people. So capital per worker would go up. So instead of having 4 workers using 2 pieces of capital, you'd have, say, 2 people leaving. You have 2 people using 2 pieces of capital.
I wonder if this is kind of a trick question, though, because you know how it talks about with physical capital, like you need the smart people to invent machinery.
Yeah.
So it could also be.
I think it could be B or D.
So it says, yeah, because human capital. So the first part of the question is human capital per worker will.
Because we're not talking about the long term, which in the long term you would have people making physical capital, right? These people. But we're talking about in the short term, so we're talking about right now. So right now, if we have 16 people at our job site and 8 of them leave,
yeah. So I think
human capital will decrease, but capital per worker won't.
Capital will increase.
Yeah, so I think it's got to be D.
Yeah, those are the 2 I had it marked as, and I wasn't.
I didn't think about it like that because I thought about it like of people with human capital producing.
Yeah, I kept thinking you're losing the smart people, so they're obviously decreasing. It's obviously going to decrease, but your physical capital, you're also decreasing. You're losing people for physical.
Well, you're increasing physical.
Yeah, increasing that because they're
per worker.
Per worker, yeah.
And I think it's a short term and a per worker that I didn't really pay attention to before. Because in the short term, your capital goods are fixed. You can't change them in the short term.
Yeah.
So, okay. I feel better about that one.
Okay, good.
I guess that's why we have groups, right?
That's right. And I'm glad our group can function through this.
All right, 16. I put D.
Oh, me too. I think that was in the book.
Yeah, it was. Wait, I don't know. Oh, there, I did it. I marked C on that one.
Uh-oh.
You know how I always do that.
Yeah.
So 15 we put as D, right?
15 we have as D.
Let me go back.
Well, it drives you crazy that they don't have D right next to the numbers on actual.
So annoying. Okay, 17 I put B question mark.
I put B because it says as the economy moves towards the long run, so it does get higher as it moves towards the long run, but it will not last in the long run.
Yeah, because it diminishing returns, and I found something about that. It wasn't exactly.
Yeah. I did too, and so I picked B as well because it does move towards it to a certain point, and then it goes off.
Yeah, I agree with that because it only lasts so long.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was B.
17, yeah.
18, I put B again.
Yeah, me too.
19, I put D.
Yes. Because it talked. That one was kind of tricky because it states, inward, but in the book, if you have to watch it, it talks about the economists want you to do outward.
Outward, everything is there.
I was like, that's such a tricky question.
I think it's so funny because it's like you kind of BYU Idaho. It's super conservative, so we're super free trade, super world economy. I would wonder what it would be like if you went to like a super liberal university, if they would teach like, oh, everything should be inward oriented.
Exactly.
Because there's economists that think, oh, we should not. We need to.
Most of them work for the government.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So for 20, I put A.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, let me go through. I want to go through these and make sure I don't get one wrong.
Oh. Okay, let me go with you, and we'll say them. We'll make sure they're the same.
Okay.
Okay, 1 we had D, the last one.
2 C.
2 we had C. 3 C. 4 C. 5 C.
Geez, it's a lot of C's.
Yep. 6 D. 7 D.
Yeah.
8 C.
Yep.
9 A.
Yep.
10 C.
Yep.
11 D.
Yep.
12 C. 13 C. 14 C.
Gosh, there's a lot of C's.
Yeah. 15 D.
That always makes me nervous for some reason.
I know. 16 D. 17 B. 18 B. 19 D, and 20 A.
All right. Got them all the same.
Let's submit.
How do we do?
Let's see. Does it tell us I always have to go to the bottom. Is that what you have to do too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we got 2 wrong.
Oh, which ones did we get wrong? Oh.
Let's see.
10.
12. We got 12 wrong?
10 and 12.
Oh, the one that I put stay the same, but it says fall, but it would still be great.
No, we wouldn't have had, the 2 that we thought they wouldn't have been right anyway. We got that wrong.
No, and I don't agree with that.
And 10.
Those are the 2 that I have problems with, and I thought I figured out. Neither productivity nor output per worker. So it's saying that just because it doubled, it doesn't have more productivity. That makes absolutely no sense.
So 12 was B. Correct?
And 10 was D, which I don't get because the production function says that if you double it, you double productivity. But it's saying that you're not going to have more productivity if you double all your assets or all your inputs. That doesn't make sense to me.
That doesn't make sense to me either.
Tartar sauce.
But again, it's that stinking equation crap.
I'm going to ask him about that because it literally says. Many production functions have a property called constant returns. Then doubling all input causes the amount of output to double as well. Right? So if you double all the inputs, then the output should double. Should it not?
Yeah, because it's talking about twice as many workers, twice as many physical, twice as many human per capita, twice as many natural resources.
Twice as many everything.
Country B, assuming constant returns to scale.
I don't get that. That's like saying that it's like saying that we wouldn't produce more than Mexico, but we have more population, more human capital, more physical capital. But according to economics, we should be producing the same.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Because
maybe we read the question wrong. Assuming constant return to scale, which of the following is higher in country A?
Well,
I don't know. That bothers me.
So maybe is it just saying? So country B was just fluff. It's not. You don't compare it to country B. You're just comparing it to itself, which that means then nothing is higher because they're all being doubled.
Well, I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Is that what it's saying?
What is higher in country A?
So then that would be right. Then it would be neither product or output because everything moved up, so everything stays the same, right?
I guess. I don't know. That's so annoying.
That's still dumb.
Because why compare it to B? That's just a stupid trick question. It's like the purpose is for you just to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Oh well, still got an A minus.
Because otherwise everything else would be, productivity would go higher except the output per worker, because you can't make a worker's output.
No, you'd have less amount of work output per worker. That's annoying.
Okay.
All right, well, I'll turn this in.
Sounds good. Thank you again for doing that. And thanks for meeting later and everything today with.
Oh yeah, me too. We were all over the place.
I'm glad that we could worked out. Well, I appreciate it.
Yep. We'll see you next week.
Yep. See ya.